Welcome to workout number 1. So first off, we're going to go through a mobility and warm-up section, and then we'll go into the main section of the workout, followed by a stretch at the end. So make sure you have some space around you, so you can go kind of forwards or back, side to side, so you can do it in the living room or your bedroom, wherever you can find some open space. So to start with, I'll have you lying on your back with your knees bent and your hands facing up. So from this position, you're just going to gently let the hips fall side to side and the knees are falling side to side. So as you're doing this, the head is looking in the opposite direction that the knees are falling. And we're not forcing the knees to the ground, we're just letting the hips open up as much as they can that day. Everyone is going to be different and your body is going to feel different from day to day. So just let it gently fall side to side and don't worry about it getting right to the ground or anything like that. It's just whatever your body feels like on that day. So next up, we're going to go into SCAP slides. So you're going to stay lying on your back, and then you're going to reach the hands up overhead. So you've kind of started in a W position with the arms, and you're reaching up and then pulling those shoulder blades back into their pocket. So as you can see, my back is flat on the ground, so I don't want to have a big arch in my lower back while doing this. I want to keep a nice kind of long line from my pelvis all the way up to the top of my head. And I'm reaching the arms up overhead and then pulling them back into their pockets. So after this exercise, you're going to go on all fours. So on all fours, you're going to start by reaching through with your left arm and then opening up through the chest. So I'm reaching through with the left and then opening up with the chest there. As I reach through, I'm actually bending my right elbow a little bit so I can get an even further distance that I can reach. And then as I open, I'm actually looking at the hand, so I'm rotating through the upper back. So here's a front view next, just so you can see a different angle of the movement. So you're going to do about 6 to 8 in total, and then once you finish that, you're going to switch to the other side. So on the other side, you're going to go with the right arm reaching through the left and then opening up. Again, I'm bending the left elbow now so I can get a big reach with the arm and then opening up, looking at it with my eyes. Again, here's a second view from the side so you can see the movement a little bit differently. Reaching through with the right arm, bending the left elbow, and then opening up nice and big. So again, about 6 to 8 on this side as well. As you're finishing up this exercise, you're going to come onto both knees. So we're going to do some hips side to side. So one knee is up with that right foot in line with the left knee. So I'm going to just be rocking side to side with those hips. My body and my torso is staying facing forward though, so I don't want to let it rotate towards that knee. I keep it facing forward and it's just the hips that are moving side to side. So you're going to do about 6 to 10 per side. Each side might feel a little bit different, so if you need to spend a little bit more time on one side than the other, that's totally okay. And also your hips and the way you move, it might be different than me. So just be respectful of your body and how far it wants to go into that position. So each day might be different for you as well. One day you might be able to move a little bit more on the left or right, and the next day it might be a bit more tighter. So listen to your body every day and respect what it's saying to you, whether it's telling you it's okay to go a bit further or if you need to stop a little bit more than the day before. So for this next exercise, you're going to grab that broom or stick or skipping rope that you grabbed before, And from this position, you're going to get your hands nice and wide so that as you pull that broom over the head, you are not bending the elbows at all. So if you feel any pain in this movement, don't go all the way overhead. If you're limited in your range of motion through the shoulders, just go until that feels comfortable for you. So you might not go all the way back, you might just go halfway or 3/4. So from the side here, I'm just going to show you that the body stays relatively neutral. So as I bring the arms overhead, I don't want to let my chest or my rib cage pop out, and I don't want to arch my lower back. I want to stay pretty neutral with the body, and it's just my arms that are moving back and forth. So as you finish up this exercise, this is the last exercise in the warm-up and mobility section. So we're now going to be moving into the main section, and we're going to start with glute bridges. So lying on your back, line up your heels with your fingertips to start with, and then slide them about 1 inch or 2 away. So from this position, you're pushing through your heels and driving your hips up to the ceiling. Now as we're doing this, we want to make sure we're not arching our lower back. So we're really just using our glutes to push our hips up. So if you have a dumbbell, feel free to place it on the crease of the hips there, and that's going to make the movement a little bit more challenging. So your glutes are going to have to work a little bit harder to push those hips up. So as you can see, my shins are pretty close to vertical, and I want to keep them there throughout the whole movement. So make sure your feet aren't sliding in or out during the movement. So we're going to do about 12 of those in total and then move on to the next exercise. So the next exercise is a squat. So we're going to start with our feet about shoulder width apart or slightly wider with the feet slightly turned out. We're going to go slowly down into the squat and then press up through the heels to stand back up. If you have a dumbbell, you can hold it in a goblet position. So your palms are underneath that top of the dumbbell and you're holding it there as you're squatting down. So just another view from the side. And as you can see, I'm making sure that my back is staying flat as I squat down and my knees are staying behind my toes. So I'm going nice and slow on the way down, driving through the heels and standing back up to that neutral starting position. We're going to be doing 15 of those in total. So from here, we're going to be going into a plank. So you're going to drop to your knees, walk out with your hands here, and then from the knees, you're just going to push back onto your toes. So in this position, we're going to hold for about 15 to 20 seconds, and I want to think I have a straight line from about my head all the way down to my heels. While I'm there, I'm squeezing my glutes really hard, squeezing my quads together, and actually trying to pull my elbows to my toes. So it's short, but it's very intense. There's a lot of tension in your body here. So next up, we're going to be doing a split squat. So you're going to step one leg back. So you're in a split stance position. From there, you're dropping down to the floor with your weight right between the legs. We're going to be doing 8 on each side. So here's a view from the front. So if you have dumbbells, you can hold 1 in each hand. If not, you just have your hands either on your hips or by your side. So we're doing 8 reps per side, going down, pausing briefly, and then driving back up through that front heel. So with split squats, you want to make sure that the majority of the weight is in that front leg. So about 70 to 80% of your weight is in that front leg, and your back leg is just kind of for support. So next up, we're going to be getting into some dead bugs. So we're going to start with our knees at 90 degrees, arms up ahead, and we're going to be dropping our heel down to the ground one at a time. So as we're doing this, I am breathing out quite forcefully and making sure my lower back stays on the ground. So I'm dropping that heel to the ground, breathing out with a big forceful exhale and making sure my back stays flat on the ground. We're going to be doing 12 of these in total, so 6 on each side. So next up, we're going to be going into push-ups. So you're going to have 2 options here. First one is on the floor. So your feet can be either together or slightly apart, and we're dropping our chest right down to the ground, keeping a flat line with the body. We're going to be doing 10 reps in total, but the second version here is an incline push-up. So you can find anything in your house that's on a little bit of an elevated surface, and you're doing the exact same push-up, but just on that elevated surface. So take a short rest here if you need, and then we're going to move into round 2. So back to glute bridges, you're going to place the fingertips touching the heels and then slide the heels a little bit away from the body. And then you're going to be pressing those hips up to the sky again. So again, you're going to be doing 12 repetitions, driving through the heels and pushing those hips up towards the ceiling without arching your lower back. If you have a dumbbell, again, you can place it on the crease of your hips to add a little bit extra weight to make the glute bridge a little bit more challenging. So again, your glutes will have to work a little bit harder to get your hips up to the ceiling. Moving back into squats for round 2. Remember, we're going to be doing 15 repetitions. So we're nice and slowly going down into the squat and then driving through the heels to stand back up. So as you'll notice, even with the weight or without the weight, I'm making sure my head is in line with my spine. So I'm not keeping my neck jutted out. I have a straight line all the way from my lower back right to the top of my head. And as I go down, I'm aiming for about 90 degrees with the knees, but this will be different for everyone. So find a position that feels comfortable and works for you. So same goes with the stance. We're going to be about shoulder width apart, but if it feels a bit better to be a little bit more narrow or a little bit wider, just choose a stance that feels the best for your body. So we're going to move back into the plank now. So again, start on the knees. You're going to walk out with those hands and then step your feet back. So we're aiming for that full body tension. So I'm literally trying to squeeze every muscle in my body. And I have a nice straight line from the top of my head all the way down to my heels. So squeezing glutes, contracting the quads, pulling the elbows to the toes. Lots of tension in the body. So we're going to move back into split squat. So let's start with that left leg back, and we're going to drop down with our weight right between our legs. So remember, we're doing 8 repetitions for this exercise, and the majority of our weight is on that front leg, with the back leg just supporting us a little bit. Again, you can have 2 dumbbells, 1 in each hand if you have some. And you'll notice my knee isn't going too far forward, so I'm making sure I'm dropping my weight right down between my legs and then driving through that heel. Again, my head is in line with my spine, so I'm not looking too far up or letting it drop down. So I'm going to move back to dead bug. So again, go to your back and knees up to 90 degrees. You'll be dropping one heel down to the ground at a time. And as you do so, you should have a big, forceful exhale. Very, very loud. That back stays completely flat on the ground and you're breathing out heavy. Again, that's 6 repetitions per side or 12 in total. So as you finish up your dead bugs here, you're going to get into a push-up position for your 10 push-ups. So remember, either on the floor or on the inclined surface, you're going to be dropping that body down towards the floor or the elevated surface, keeping a straight line from your head down to your heels, just like the plank. So whether you're doing it on incline or from the floor, I want you to keep a lot of tension in your body, just like you did with the plank. So once you finish up these push-ups, you can take another short rest of 30 seconds to a minute, and then we'll get started with round 3. So starting with glute bridges for round 3. lying on your back again. Again, touch those heels to your fingertips and then gently slide the heels away about an inch or two. So you're pushing up through the heels, driving the hips up to the sky, and making sure not to arch the lower back. So again, that's 12 repetitions, either with just your body weight, or if you have that dumbbell, you can place it on the crease of your hips. So I'm resting my hands on the dumbbell just to make sure it doesn't slide back or forth. So if you're using dumbbells for any of the exercises here, you can switch up the number of reps if needed if your dumbbells are really heavy. So aim to do the required number of reps, but if they're too heavy to complete it with good form, decrease the reps slightly. So back to squats. Remember, we're going to be doing 15 reps of them. Nice and slowly, we're going down into our squat position and then pushing through our heels. As we're doing this, we're making sure that our knees are in line with our feet. So they're not dropping or caving in, and they're also not pushing way too far out. So again, if you're using that dumbbell, you can place it in the goblet position. As you can see, I'm going down nice and slowly, pausing slightly at the bottom before driving up through my heels. I'm aiming to get about 90 degrees, but again, be mindful of what your body is saying, and you might not go quite to 90 degrees, depending on if it's okay for your knees or your back or anything like that. So make sure those heels stay on the ground throughout the squat as well. So back to plank. So again, we're going to start on the knees and then walk out to our hands here, out to our forearms, and then step those feet back. And I want to see you try to generate as much tension in your body here. So while I'm in this position, I can also exhale forcefully, just like I do in the dead bugs, and that's going to make me work my core a little bit more. So after that, we're back into the split squat. So again, let's start on that left side, stepping back with that foot and then dropping right into that first split squat. So we're going down nice and slowly, pausing and then driving up through that front heel. So I'm just coming just off the ground. So my knee doesn't actually touch the ground. I'm about an inch or two off the ground. Remember, most of our weight is in that front leg, and I'm dropping right between the two legs and then pushing up through that heel. So I actually want to feel this exercise in the glute of my front leg. So if you're feeling it in a lot of different places or not in that spot, just let us know in the group and I can offer some more suggestions if needed. But I'm really working to drive through the heel of the front leg. So back to dead bugs. So lie on your back again, knees up to 90 degrees and those arms straight up. Dropping one heel to the ground at the time. Big forceful exhale and then bringing it back up. So it's nice and slow as I drop the leg down. I don't just want to let it drop. I should have lots of control through this movement the entire time. And again, that's 12 repetitions in total, 6 per side. And remember, making sure that back stays flat on the ground. We don't want to have an arch in the lower back. So as you finish up this exercise, we're going to go back into our push-ups. So remember, we can go on the floor or on the inclined surface somewhere in your house. Again, that's 10 repetitions. Gonna let you off the hook there. 10 repetitions in total, either on the floor or on an inclined surface. And you can do from the floor to start with and then move to the inclined surface if needed. You don't have to do all 10 from one spot. Again, lots of tension in the body, just like the plank, so that we're not getting a kind of noodle effect with the body. We want to have a nice... Alright, so we're done with the main section now, and we're going to move into about 5 minutes of stretching. So we're going to hold each stretch for about 20 to 30 seconds, and we're going to start with our hamstrings. So we're going to start lying on our back. So we're going to hold one leg just under the knee there, and the other foot is flat on the ground with the knee bent. So again, I want to make sure I'm not arching my lower back. I have a kind of straight line from my lower back to my head, and I'm gently pulling in on that leg. So for any of the stretches here, you want to feel a gentle and light stretch. We don't want to feel pain or stretching so far we can't even breathe through it. So you want to be able to maintain a nice kind of long, slow exhale and inhale for all your stretches. So we've moved on to the second leg now. And same thing, we're going to hold for about 20 to 30 seconds on this side. And as you'll notice, my leg is actually slightly bent, so the knee is slightly bent. You can either keep your leg totally straight or bend it slightly. You'll actually feel a little bit of a difference in the stretch where the knee bent, you might feel a bit more in the hamstring, and the leg totally straight, you might feel a bit more in your calf. So from here, we're going to move into a glute stretch or a piriformis stretch. So you're going to take your left leg and cross it over your right knee, and you're going to reach your two hands kind of between the leg and outside that leg and just gently pull in. So again, we're giving this nice straight line all the way kind of from the lower back all the way up to the head, and we're just gently pulling in on that leg. So again, we don't want to feel any pain or any pulling or anything too much. It should be a light, gentle stretch that we can easily breathe through, inhale and exhale calmly. So switching to the second side, we're going to cross that right leg over top of that left knee. And lying back, I'm going to pull that knee gently in towards my chest. So if you have any troubles with your neck or anything like that, you can place a pillow or something to kind of support your neck in this position. So as we're finishing up the piriformis stretch here, we're going to be going into a stretch for our quad and hip flexor. So going into this stretch, we're going to go one knee down and one knee up. And I'm going to raise my left arm here. So I have this nice long line all the way through the left side of my body. So from this position, I want to be squeezing my glutes and making sure that I'm not arching my lower back. So as you'll see here in a second from the side, I have a nice straight line all the way from that left knee all the way up to my left shoulder. I'm not arching my back or pushing my hips too far forward. So if you have any troubles with your knees, place a pillow underneath that lower or the knee that's on the ground. Sometimes it can be a little harsh, especially if you're on wood floor or something like that. So just protect the knee as needed. So again, on the second side here, I'm squeezing my glutes and I'm kind of tucking my pelvis a little bit under so that I increase the stretch on the hip. And as we go to that side view again, you'll see that there's a straight line from that right knee all the way up to that right shoulder. So I'm not pushing the hips too far forward or anything like that. So as we finish up this stretch, we're going to go into our last two stretches. So the next one is going to be our upper back stretch. I'm going to start with the legs, the knees slightly apart. I'm just going to reach my arms forward nice and far. And I'm going to hold this position for about 15 seconds or so. So I'm just relaxed in that position. And again, just like any of the exercises today or in the future, it's going to look different for everybody. So listen to your body, respect what it's telling you. So from here, I've now moved to the left side. So I'm reaching nice and long to that left side. I can actually kind of reach my right hand over the left arm to really get a good stretch down the right side of the body. After that, I'm just going to move to the other side. And as you can see, that left arm is over top of the right almost. So get this nice long stretch all the way down the left side of my body. As I finish up this stretch, I'm going to go to standing, and you're going to make your way over to a corner of a wall or a door frame or something that you can stretch your chest. So here I'm about 90 degrees with that elbow, and as you can see, I might actually play around with the height of my arm, trying to find the best position where I feel the stretch in my chest and not my shoulder. So you really want to feel that stretch through the pec muscle, so that chest muscle, and not in the front of the shoulder. So play around with the height of the arm, moving it up or down, and finding a position that feels the best for you. So as you can see, I was just checking out the door there, trying to find the best spot for the right arm. So I'm just gently kind of looking away. I don't want to be too aggressive with this stretch. It's just gentle, just gently looking away. And I'm keeping my shoulder and shoulder blade down. So as you're finishing up your chest stretch here, that's going to be the end of the stretch component and also the end of the workout. So great work today, and I will see you soon.